Hello, I'm Gerard Chiusano, composer with OCP and director of liturgy and music at the Church of St. Luke, and today we take a look at the parable of the Prodigal Son during this year of mercy. Now first, a little story to illustrate our reflection. Back in the day of Napoleon, a young man was arrested for burglary, convicted, and sentenced to death. His mother went to the Emperor, Napoleon, and begged mercy for her son. Well, does he deserve mercy? Challenged the emperor. Your Majesty, if he deserved it, it wouldn't be mercy. Now, as you will see in our parable, God's mercy is granted to us not because we merit it, but because of God's goodness and love. So says St. Paul in his letter to Titus. Now, we all know the story of the prodigal son, but let's first look at the characters. There's the father, his two sons, one of whom is loyal to a fault, and the other who is a free spirit. Now, the father represents God, and the sons represent most of us in one way or another. The home of the father, of course, is heaven. The younger son goes to the father and demands his share of the inheritance, which he squanders on irresponsible living and ends up destitute. He realizes life with his father was far better than the life he chose for himself, and though his motive was not the most sincere, he decides he will go back to his father and apologize, hoping for his father's forgiveness. And what happens? Well, the father, who has looked for his son day after day, sees but a glimpse of him on the horizon. And what does he do? Well, rather than wait for him to arrive at the house, the father runs out to meet him, loudly rejoicing that his son has returned. He calls for a ring for his finger, shoes for his feet, the finest robe, and a feast to celebrate the return of his son. This is just how our God acts when we turn back to him. He doesn't even wait for us to get all the way back. He doesn't care our motive, even though we turn back to God with our imperfect contrition. That is, our regret that our sins may keep us from heaven, rather than a perfect contrition, that our sins hurt God. It doesn't even matter, for God rejoices when his child returns to him. Now, the older son complains that he who has been loyal and obedient did not receive the blessings that this disobedient one received. But the father explains that the older son already has all that the father has, and the younger one was dead and is now alive, was lost and is now found. God's mercy is without condition, is without thought, is without boundary or measure. Do we deserve God's mercy? Certainly not, for none of us can stand before the Lord and demand what we claim as ours. The father in the parable gave the son what he demanded because he, and thus God, respects the gift of free will he has given us in the hope that we will choose every day to receive and live the love of God and not to reject it. And so as the father was merciful to his son, God gives his gift of mercy to us. In this year of mercy, we are called to be merciful like the Father. Let us go forth then and lavishly pour mercy on those around us, regardless of whether or not we think it is deserved. I'm Gerard Chiusano. Have a blessed day.